The Crane Girl, adapted by Curtis Manley. The Crane Girl, based on a Japanese folktale. Yoshiro dropped his armload of firewood to follow the sound across the sharp buckwheat stubble of the landlord's field. He almost stepped on the crane, nearly invisible where it lay in the snow. A trap held one foot, but the crane looked unharmed. As Yoshiro knelt, the bird closed its eyes and shuddered. Yoshiro clicked his tongue to calm the bird. "I'm not here to hurt you." When the bird stood up, it was as tall as Yoshiro. He stroked the soft feathers on its long neck with his fingertips, and the bird gently pressed the red top of its head against Yoshiro's face. The crane suddenly turned away, began running, and took flight over the wintry hills. Yoshiro watched until the bird was a pale speck against the dark sky. Then he picked up the firewood his father had sent him for and hurried home. The next night, someone knocked on the door. Yoshiro opened it and found a girl standing there, pale and shivering, tears frozen on her cheeks. "Please," she said, bowing, "I have no home and nothing to eat. May I stay here with you? I will help with chores. I won't be any trouble." Yoshiro led her to the warmth of the hearth. "Father will decide whether you can stay." Yoshiro's father, Ryota, got up and bowed. "We are not rich like others in town, but you are welcomed here as long as you work hard. If you are lazy or steal from me, you cannot stay. Do you agree to that?" "Yes, sir," the girl said, and bowed again. "Thank you. You may call me Hiroko." Yoshiro and Hiroko became friends. They shared their chores and spent their time together. Each morning, Ryota walked to town looking for work, unloading boats or carrying heavy baskets. He returned in the evening, usually with a fish or noodles. But when he couldn't find work, he came home with only his sadness, crying the name of Yoshiro's mother. "Mother died when I was young," Yoshiro whispered to Hiroko. "One of those nights. Father says she wove the finest Komodo silk in the whole island. We still have her loom and thread, but Father had to sell all the fabric she made except my scarf." "Oh, Yashi, it's so beautiful," Hiroko said as she stroked the soft fabric. The next day, Hiroko bowed to Ryota. "If it would please you, Ryota-san, I will weave silk for you. I will bring a good price in the market. I will have but one request. Neither you nor Yoshiro must open the door or look at me while I am weaving, no matter how long I might take. Do you agree to that?" Yoshiro and Ryota nodded and said yes. "Then I will weave for you." She took the bowl of rice and bean sprouts that Yoshiro offered and closed the door. The loom sounded all night and the next day. Only after dinner did it fall silent. When Hiroko finally opened the door, she was carrying a bolt of cloth as light as a summer breeze. A merchant bought the silk for as much gold as Ryota could earn in 5 months. Now Ryota often slept late. By the time he walked to the village, there was no work left. Instead, he sat with the merchants in the warm sun, eating and drinking all afternoon. The gold was gone in just 3 months. So again, Hiroko closed the door to weave, taking with her a bowl of tofu and ginger that Yoshiro had prepared for her. This time the girl spent 2 full days with the loom. The fabric was even finer than before. A merchant paid so much that Ryota stopped even trying to look for work. He went to town only to sit by the docks with the merchants and boast of the fine silk he would weave for them. In a few months, all the gold was spent again. "More cloth!" demanded Ryota. Hiroko looked down at the floor. "I am still too weak, sir. Next month I will weave more." "You will do it now," insisted Ryota, and before Yushiro could stop him, Ryota pushed the girl into the room and slid the door shut. Yushiro looked at the door and remembered his promise to Hiroko never to open it. A day passed, and then another. The loom's rhythm seemed slower with each passing hour. Ryota paced back and forth. Finally, the loom fell silent. "Are you done with the cloth?" Ryota asked, and slid the door open. He cried out and fell back onto the floor. Yushiro rushed toward his father but stopped and stared. Through the open door, he saw a long, thin neck and feathers fleckled with blood, and then a great wing slammed the door shut. Ryota ran past Yushiro and stumbled outside into the darkness. When Hiroko finally came out, her face was pale and her eyes were red from crying. "Yashi, here is the silk for your father. Once he sells it, he need not bear any burdens for many months." "I am sorry about father," Yushiro said, gazing down at the fabric. Hiroko pressed her head against him. Yushiro thought of what he'd seen through the open door and touched Hiroko's neck. "Why did you pluck your own feathers for the cloth?" "You saved my life when I was caught in the trap," said the girl. "You were so gentle and kind. I wanted to be with you." Hiroko pulled away from him. "But I can stay here no longer." She hurried outside and within 3 steps changed back into a crane and flew away. Yushiro ran and ran, calling after her and sobbing. When she was just a dark speck in the dawn sky, he could run no more. He must have fallen asleep, for suddenly Hiroko was bending over him. "Yashi, go home. You will freeze here in the snow." "I won't go back," said Yushiro. "Take me with you." Hiroko shook her head. "Our life is too different. It is a hard life. You wouldn't like it." "I will like it because I'll be with you." "Then follow me," she began running, "and flap your wings hard." "But I don't have—" But he did. He did have wings. Together they flew low over the hills and along the river to the marshes at the edge of the sea. Her people clacked their beaks in welcome and danced for them. Yushiro and Hiroko stayed together all the rest of their long lives and raised many crane children, one by one by one.